digesting a rather radical view of the world. George Galloway is a member of the British Parliament, an outspoken supporter of Saddam Hussein, of all people. He also believes the USA brought 9/11 on itself. Since there's little to be gained from debating Mr. Galloway, no minds will be changed. I instead would like to know how he's arrived at his conclusions. Okay, let's go back to the first Gulf War. Did Saddam have a right to invade Kuwait?
No, and both of the conclusions you've just attributed to me are false. I'm not a supporter of Saddam Hussein, far less an outspoken one.
Saddam Hussein will live in history long after these dogs.
I have some quotes here.
Yeah.
This is in 1994 in a speech you made in Baghdad, okay? And you correct me if I'm wrong.
I will.
I'm going to quote from the speech.
I will.
You're talking in front of Saddam. Your Excellency, Mr. President, I greet you in the name of many thousands of people in Britain who stood against the tide and opposed the war and aggression against Iraq.
Yeah. What does that mean?
Sir, I salute your courage, your strength, your indefatigability.
All right, so
I'm against war. I'm against war.
Okay, Mr. Galloway, just relax.
Yeah.
All right, so you're against, you said Saddam shouldn't have invaded Kuwait, but you're against removing him by force. Okay, then how would Saddam be removed from Kuwait if not by force?
Well, Kuwait belongs to Iraq. Kuwait was a part of Iraq. Kuwait was stolen from Iraq by Britain. There is a historical fact that Kuwait never existed. It was part of Iraq. It was taken from Iraq by the empire for selfish strategic purposes. Secondly, Kuwait was stealing Iraq's oil.
Well, let's get back. Let's not deflect the issue. Let's go back to Kuwait, because I want to walk through. No, you're deflecting the issue. If Saddam invades Kuwait, a sovereign country, and the United States and Britain and other countries come to Kuwait's aid and stop the murder and raping, as we know took place there, I don't know how you could criticize the United States and say to Saddam, I greet you in the name of many thousands of people who stood against the tide and opposed the war and aggression against Iraq. See, this to me is, I don't understand.
Kuwait was overproducing and thus reducing the price of oil exactly at a time that Iraq needed to earn more money rather than less.
Do you believe that Israel has a right to exist?
Sure, it exists irrespective of my point of view. It's a military superpower. It's always going to exist. It's got.
Do you believe it? Do you believe it has a right to exist?
Well, every country that exists, by definition, has a right to exist, or it wouldn't exist.
And I think that you implied in that speech that Israel and the Jewish people didn't have a right to self-determination.
Let me set out my views just for the avoidance of doubt. I'm not in favor of a two-state solution, because I don't believe in Jewish states.
Hezbollah has never been a terrorist organization. And I'm here to glorify their leader, Said Hassan Nasrallah.
هي عدونا. هذا كيان غاصب غير قانوني غير شرعي ولا مستقبل له في أرضنا ومصيره يعبر عنه دمنا والشعار الموت لإسرائيل.
Hezbollah are not now, nor have they ever been, a terrorist organization.
But let's not dance on the end of that needle. The point is, America, as the only superpower in the world, underwrites a nuclear-armed superpower in the Middle East called Israel. It's always going to exist. This is a...
Would you rather see America walk away from Israel entirely?
Well, I think America should strike a more balanced policy in the Middle East.
الموت لأمريكا.
Hezbollah is not now, nor has it ever been, a terrorist organization. Hassan Nasrallah is the real leader of the Arab people.
Was the USA wrong in removing the Taliban?
Well,
ينتعلون الصنادل ويتسلحون بالكلاشنيكوف ويستعملون الأسلحة البدائية يكتبون أسماء مدنهم وقراهم على النجوم
every day.
After 9/11, was the USA wrong in removing the Taliban?
Yeah, but
No American soldier who leaves his barracks can be sure that he will come back alive.
But this question is simple. Was the USA wrong in removing the Taliban after 9/11? We could talk history all day long.
Well,
yes or no?
No, I wish it were simple. If life were as simple...
Say it was simple. I'm asking your opinion. Were we wrong in removing the Taliban after 9/11?
Well, if it were as simple as that, then we'd be talking about a very rosy picture.
I'm going to write down you don't want to answer that question.
No, because
I got another.
Not yes or no, certainly not.
It is.
No, it's not a yes or no question.
Were we wrong in removing the Taliban?
It's not a yes or no question.
No?
It's not a yes or no question.
They're out of there now. They had elections, successful elections.
What do you mean they're out of there now? You've obviously not been following the news.
Well, maybe you haven't either. Had a successful election. They had a successful election in Afghanistan.
They didn't have a successful election.
Sure they did. It was a democratic election, and 10% of the candidates were women, sir.
The American army is losing the will to...
Were the Al-Qaeda bombings in London justified?
Well, I'm almost insulted that you can ask such a question.
Every dignified person in the country would fight them.
Not only did I denounce them as an act of mass murder, I did it from the scene, which is in my own constituency.
Good. So you no good Al-Qaeda, they're not to...
All Al-Qaeda explosions are obscene acts of mass murder.
إن أشرف الموت هو القتل وأشرف القتل وأعظم الشهادة هو أن يقتل الإنسان في سبيل الله على يدي أعداء الله قتلة الأنبياء.
I'm here to glorify their leader, Saeed Hassan Nasrallah.
I think we just got some common ground.
The Arabs would be a superpower in the world if they had this unity.
It's nothing to do with me.
Is it okay for Iran to have nuclear weapons?
Well, this is a very interesting question.
جنوب تا شمال و از شرق تا غرب یک فریاد است و اون مرگ بر امریکا. نفرت و خشم ملت مسلمان بر امریکا رژیم کفر شیطان، بر امریکا رژیم کفر شیطان، امریکا اون رژیم شاخ شکسته، امریکا اون رژیم شاخ شکسته در انتظار رابطه نشسته. رابطمون با امریکا نمیشه، رابطمون با امریکا نمیشه، نبرد ما با امریکا همیشه، نبرد ما. فریاد انسانهای روی زمین، فریاد انسانهای روی زمین، فریاد انسانهای روی زمین، مرگ بر امریکا پلید لعین.
ما تأکید داریم بر صلح‌آمیز بودن سلاح هسته‌ای ما، سلاح نیروگاه هسته‌ای ما و انرژی هسته‌ای ما و فعالیت‌های هسته‌ایمون.
Why is Israel allowed to have nuclear weapons but not Iran?
Israel has not shown any predilection to spread jihad throughout the world. I don't see any Jewish jihadists or suicide bombers.
دید نکنید که انشاءالله اسلام همه کجا رو فتح خواهد کرد، همه قله‌های
There's no Jewish jihad to impose their religion on anyone else as there is in the Muslim world.
Listen,
are you okay with Iran having nuclear weapons?
Well, actually, they don't have nuclear weapons.
Are you okay with them having?
No, I'm against all nuclear weapons.
All right, good. All right, Mr. Galloway, I think we covered a lot of ground here.
For determination to face these enemies with the dignity your president has shown. And I believe, God willing, we will prevail and triumph. Wassalamu alaikum.